Hasina, the fallen dictator, the ex-prime minister, the so-called mother of humanity and democracy, the so-called ambassador of global peace, the so-called ambassador of development democracy, and a preacher of blind pessimism. Sheikh Hasina ruled Bangladesh for more than 20 years. One term only once, then in 4 consecutive terms. She was a despot, a monster, who rises on the blue field of preaching the spirit of liberation war of 1971 of Bangladesh. Today's podcast is the rise and fall of dictator Sheikh Hasina. In 1975, Sheikh Hasina's almost all the family members have been assassinated by the revolutionary forces at that time who stood against the tyranny, the oppression, and dictatorship of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. I'm not talking about the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman who led the liberation movement from 1947 to 1971 and who inspired the freedom fight, the liberation war in 1971, and who led the country from 1972, 10th of January to 1973 with the aim of democratic reformation and who was guiding the nation towards democracy. But I'm calling that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman as a dictator, the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman who started believing in autocracy and dictatorship since 1973 and started forming Bakshal Bangladesh Awami Krishak Shramik League, and who abolished all forms of political party system and who stood against all sort of freedom of expressions. After the assassination of the Sheikh Mujib family, Bangladesh Awami League has been kind of wiped out from the picturesque of Bangladeshi politics, and there are dictatorship of Ziaur Rahman and dictatorship of General Zia and General Irshad. During the dictatorship of General Irshad, Sheikh Hasina returned to the country and take lead of her party, Bangladesh Awami League, and with other political parties, she fought against the dictatorship of General Irshad. But unfortunately, she failed to own the election of 1991, and she took the position of the uh, the chief party in the as the second party in the floor of Bangladesh. Jatiyo সংসদ means the parliament, the opposition. But she never stopped fighting for the power, and eventually she got power in 1996 with alliance from her own rival in last 4 terms, Bangladesh Jamaat Islami, and with the help of Bangladesh Jamaat Islami, she took power in 1996. Now, finally, Sheikh Hasina is on power. And that 5 years were very brutal, where she operated brutal regime against all her political opponents, including Jamaat Islami, which led Jamaat Islami to be an ally with Bangladesh Jatiyotawadi Dal or Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP, and Sheikh Hasina lose his power in 2001 to Bangladesh Nationalist Party with their alliances, four-party alliance led by Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP of Begum Khaleda Jia. But she started doing all the bad things, and also she started allying with other small parties, and she formed 14 parties alliance, and she won election in 2009, and that was the beginning of the nightmare of the dictatorship, of the monstership of the one party, one person led country for last more than 16 years. Then she started consolidating her power through killing army officers, through killing and abducting political rivalries, and she formed a so-called International Criminal Tribunal, ICT, to try all her political opponents, especially from the right-wing factions. That's how she gripped her power, and she started recruiting all her party boys to different positions of government positions like Bangladesh Police, Bangladesh Army, and other administrative positions, including civil services. And that's how she won election in 2014 again, which is rigged, which is not approved or verified or validated by any national and international bodies, where reports of vote rigging, vote kind of all the misdeeds has been done by her political partymen. And again in 2018, she hijacked political rights of people. In 2022, again, she hijacked political rights of the people. All the votes have been casted in the night. That's why the elections were called as nighttime elections. So that's how she rose to the extreme power, and she led her country to kind of darkness. But she promoted one thing, the spirit of liberation war, in which disguise she oppressed on all her political rivalries. Now, how she kind of fall from her power? To discuss it, we should look at the way of her power consolidation. First, she approached towards the people about the importance of one party rule consecutively for many years, many decades. And technically, she imposed her father's image, the preaching of the spirit of liberation war, and the stature of her family on the people of Bangladesh. And also, she preached the importance of development democracy around the globe and mass recruitment of her partymen in different government positions. It's millions in numbers. Then she recruited some businessmen as her advisors to control the business, to control the finance, to control the economy. And that's how she consolidated her power. And every time there is a protest, there were mass killing. Every time there is something against her, The news media has been closed. The person has been abducted, punished, brutally killed, unanswered. The entire legal system has been destroyed, abolished almost. Even the Chief Justice has been made to flee the country. Now, how she fall? First, the constitutional coup against the Constitution. The Constitution has been rewritten in a way where people has no say to say anything. No say to anything. You can't stand against the system. And the legal and jurisdiction and entire justice system has been designed the way she desired so that political rivalries cannot get any justice. The entire country went under the brutal blackwater of all kind of corruptions, bribery, extortions. The partyman has enjoyed extreme freedom to exercise their malpractices, corruption, bribery, extortion, everything on the political rivalries and the general people. The entire education system has been broken. Why the education folks, guardians are agitated and frustrated. The entire economic system, banking system, and financial system has been collapsed, has been taken by her partymen, and everything is done as per her wish, even the central bank. The land, the social welfare, the other ministries has been collapsed. People has nothing to say. There is a liberation war ministry where the fake liberation, the freedom fighters were listed to raise her kind of popularity, and they have been given blank check. All our people's taxes. Taxes have been raised. Inflation was so high, uncontrollable. People cannot feed their nearest one. People cannot meet their everyday's ends. And all the big projects were drawn such a way so that partymen can be rich overnight. Even the Prime Minister has submitted in front of the press, national and international, that her own PS, personal secretary, her own driver is a billionaire. And truly, that driver was billionaire. Now, she has killed, abducted hundreds of thousands of people, and started with the mass killing of army officers with the disguise of a BDR revolution. BDR is the Border Security Force of Bangladesh, which is now called as BGB, Border Guard Bangladesh. Then in Shahbag, more than 3,000 Islamic scholars have been killed overnight, and not a single investigation has been led. Hundreds of thousands of media persons have been killed and abducted and tortured. She has established an Ainagor, a mirror house, to torture people like Nazis. Hundreds of newspapers and magazines and TV channels have been shut. An ICT Act has been passed to stop freedom of speech. A retaliatory discriminatory law has been introduced in the name of the protection of the family members of Sheikh Mujib forever with all the ministerial amenities. A Ministry of War, Liberation War has been formed to, to, to appease her partymen by giving them monthly allowances, which is more than 55,000 taka. Even government high officials doesn't get that much money. Mass recruitment of her partymen, which is more than 10 million, 1 million in different government positions. Entire police system has been broken, has been designed the way she desired. Entire other law enforcement agencies have been designed, and the recruitees are from her own partymen. And the security forces and military forces were as designed the way she desired. The education system, the academic curriculum has been changed many a times to re-illiterate our people, because the education system is not educating at all people. Rather, it was making our students idle and misled, and also making them morally corrupt. Question leak has been a tradition which is introduced by her in 2009, and even government ministries, government board chairmen, they all are attached, are engaged in question leaking. Question leaking has been a trend, a ritual, and a famine which is uncontrollable. And in terms of religious exercise, Muslim scholars, Muslim imams, leaders were agitated by all the anti-Islamic, anti-custom provisions and systems and regulations taken by the government. So people are really angry, and it fueled the fall of Sheikh Hasina. Then finally, the quota system reform movement, which is led by the students. And one single logical demand of them is to eliminate the brutal quota system, which is stopping the meritorious young folk to enter into the job, where it is empowering his own partyman to enter into the job easily with the quota system of freedom fighters quota, which is more than 80%. But still now she was arrogant. She was calling them anti-state. She was calling them Rajakar, which is an insulting term used against the workers of Bangladesh Jamaat Islami, the people who stood for Pakistan during the liberation war against the will of the people of Bangladesh. They have been called as Razakar, and students took it very seriously. And she killed more than 400 students, which has crossed all the records. Even the British police didn't kill such amount of money in their 190 years rule by the police. And the students were getting out of their masses, their dormitories, their hostels, and their homes on the street. They took to the street to fight for their dead friends, batchmates, and classmates, seniors and juniors. It was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Finally, she ordered to Bangladesh army to take actions, but Bangladesh army refused. And finally, she had been fled on 5th of August on a military jet, basically a cargo jet, to India. That is the story of rise and fall of dictator of Bangladesh, dictator Sheikh Hasina. Thank you.